I'm Father Pullman.
I'm Father Schumacher.
Now it's time for an episode of Something Simple. So, Father, what is the gospel?
The gospel is the good news that although we are all doomed to die, there's a way out. That's
nice.
what I got for you.
Well, that's very helpful.
No, truly, we've all noticed that this life comes to an end, right? I sometimes joke in my homilies, none of us are getting out of here alive, right? This earth is not the kind of place, we're not the kind of beings that can stay alive forever. We've all noticed this. This is something wrong. Something has gone wrong. Now, you can explain how that happened in lots of different ways. People try to. We Christians have an explanation of how that came to be, because we point out that God didn't want it that way. God didn't create death. God didn't create a world where human beings die. We broke it, is our explanation for that happened. The gospel is the good news that God didn't just say, oh, well, that's too bad. He decided instead to fix the problem by giving us a way out of death.
So I can see then that this is actually always relevant.
Yes.
So the problem of the ancient peoples that didn't have like internet and raising children with cell phones, or some other problems in the workplace, or maybe some of the things that complicate today, we all have the condition of, I'm going to die, and unlike the other animals, I find myself wondering what it's going to be like after this. And so there are those fundamental questions, and that there are a multitude of cultures, times, places that have put forth assertions of as far as what that is. But the problem is that there are contradictory claims. But you're saying that the gospel actually gives us the truth.
Right. The gospel is the good news that God, seeing this world falling into corruption, human beings destined to die because of our own wickedness, right, decided to do something about it. That something was to send his Son, the Son of the Father, came down from heaven to earth in order to live among us, to be one of us perfectly, to die on the cross in perfect obedience. Rather than give up that obedience, he was saying, I'm willing to die rather than stop being obedient to my Father. Not that the Father wanted him to die, of course. But we killed him. And he said, all right, I'd rather die than stop being obedient to my Father. By that perfect act of obedience, he earned a perfect and an infinite merit, a perfect reward. His Father said, you have done something perfect. What would you like as a reward? And Jesus, in effect, said to him, I want the human race as my reward. So he earned for us the gift of our reconstitution in the created order, not just to be beings that are destined to stay on this earth, but beings that are called now to the life of heaven.
So basically, if someone is born into poverty, if someone is born into a family of abuse, a cycle of violence, the
physical deformity,
the good news is that this life is not my hope.
Right, and that's actually true no matter what situation you're born into. You might think that your life is really great here, but the problem in the end is it's not going to last forever. No one gets out of that problem, which is why the gospel is relevant to everyone.
So certain news gets us out of certain problems. Tornado warning will get us out of danger if we heed the warning and take shelter. And so this good news actually shelters us from death itself.
Right. That's the good news. That's the gospel.